My mom secretly took out a $500,000 life insurance policy on my infant sister just 18 months before she unexpectedly passed away. Now I can't stop wondering if it was grief, greed, or something much darker that drove her decisions. When my sister drowned, my mother adopted a girl her age and began referring to her by my sister's name. Lily had passed away 6 weeks prior. She had Down syndrome and was playing in the pool. Mother had assured us she would supervise her. One moment, I was upstairs engaged in a game of Twister with my friends. The next, we were all gathered by the deck, watching my mother shriek and attempt to resuscitate Lily by blowing air into her mouth. Following Lily's funeral, Mother barely uttered a word. She sat silently in Lily's untouched room, oblivious to everyone. Father gently attempted to draw her out, offering meals she hardly touched. Then, abruptly, as if a switch had been flipped, she became frenetic and resolute, speaking rapidly about adoption as though she had discovered a miraculous remedy. Emma arrived swiftly through an emergency fostering program Mother had located. She was sweet and wide-eyed, barely 2 years old, bearing no resemblance to Lily apart from her age. Yet, Mother immediately dressed her in Lily's attire, gave her Lily's playthings, and even inadvertently started calling her Lily. What stung most was how quickly Mother completely erased Lily. She forbade us from mentioning her, shutting down every attempt I made to visit Lily's burial site. Cease dwelling on the past, she snapped whenever I uttered my sister's name. But Emma was not Lily. Mother appeared relieved by this. She constantly boasted to relatives about Emma's rapid learning and development, emphasizing how effortlessly she accomplished things Lily never could. She showered Emma with praise and costly toys, yet disregarded all my needs. She overlooked my soccer matches, missed parent-teacher conferences, and dismissed my pleas for assistance or attention. I began constructing model airplanes to cope, an activity Lily had always enjoyed observing. I even secured a victory in a school competition, but Mother barely acknowledged it. Father noticed, offering awkward encouragement, but we both felt powerless to confront Mother's delicate mental state. As Lily's first death anniversary approached, I suggested a small remembrance at Lily's grave, but Mother declined. She had already scheduled a photographer for that precise day, informing me these would be our initial professional photographs with Emma. But what about Lil? I asked. There will be numerous anniversaries, she interjected. That fractured something within me. You are pretending Lily never existed. You cannot simply replace her. Mother struck me when I uttered that, her eyes wild and enraged. Lily was suffering. Emma is everything Lily could not be. Father stood motionless, his eyes wide. Without another word, I bolted to my room, slamming the door behind me. Hours later, Father knocked and sat beside me. He appeared exhausted. Something is amiss with your mother, he whispered. I have overlooked it for too long. We conversed honestly about Mother's conduct, and we concurred Emma deserved better, not to be a substitute for a lost child. For the first time, Father openly mentioned divorce and custody disputes. I felt a pang of guilt, but also relief. We were no longer pretending. When family arrived days later for the photo shoot Mother had orchestrated, Father and I were prepared. Everyone stood awkwardly in our living room as the photographer set up. My chest tightened. Before Mother could pose Emma in another one of Lily's dresses, I spoke up. Mother has erased Lily, I stated clearly. Emma deserves better. She is not Lily's replacement. Mother's face turned white, then red with fury. Do not ruin this, she hissed. Father stepped forward protectively as family members began murmuring. You called Lily broken, I declared aloud, my voice trembling with suppressed sorrow. You pretend she never existed and treat Emma like some flawless doll. My aunt gasped softly. My uncle stared at Mother with disbelief. Mother's voice escalated to a scream, her anger consuming everything. Emma is what Lily was not, she shrieked. Lily was an embarrassment. The room fell silent. The photographer gazed at us, as if bewildered. My aunt took Emma into her arms, consoling the now frightened toddler. Quietly, family members departed, shaken and disgusted. Several immediately contacted child services. The photographer inquired if this meant no photos, and she screamed at him to leave. In the subsequent weeks, Emma was temporarily placed with my aunt. My mother packed her belongings and departed the night Emma was taken away. Father and I commenced therapy, openly mourning Lily for the first time. Months later, after careful assessment, Emma returned to us. Father legally adopted her, and we slowly reconstructed something resembling a family. We believed everything was finally behind us. But then, months later, Father and I finally felt ready to clear Mother's possessions from storage. Among her papers, concealed behind old files, I discovered a manila envelope. Inside was a life insurance policy on Lily, valued at $500,000, dated 18 months prior to her death. My hands trembled as I gazed at the document. The policy details blurred as my eyes welled with tears. I could not comprehend what I was seeing. Father was in the adjacent room, sifting through boxes of Christmas decorations. I approached him slowly, the papers quivering in my grasp. He looked up and saw my face. I handed him the envelope without uttering a word. He read it once, then again, his face turning pallid, the color draining so rapidly I thought he might faint. We sat there in silence for what felt like hours, but was likely just minutes. The storage unit's fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. He said we needed to examine everything more meticulously. We spent the next 3 hours scrutinizing every single paper in those boxes. We uncovered 2 additional policies, one on me, one on father, all procured around the same time, all for substantial sums. My stomach churned. Father's hands were steady, but I could discern the tension in his jaw, the way his teeth clenched. We did not converse much on the drive home. Emma was with my aunt for the weekend, having a sleepover with her cousins. The house felt excessively quiet. Father prepared coffee, despite the late hour. We sat at the kitchen table with all the documents spread out. He repeatedly ran his hand through his hair, a nervous habit I had never truly observed before. The kitchen clock ticked loudly in the stillness. I inquired what we should do. He stated he did not know. We both understood what those papers implied, but neither of us wished to vocalize it. The coffee grew cold. We remained awake until 3 in the morning, simply sitting there, attempting to make sense of it all. Outside, a storm gathered, rain pattering against the windows like tapping fingers. The following day, Father contacted a lawyer friend, not for legal counsel, he said, merely to better comprehend insurance policies. I listened from the hallway as he spoke in careful, measured tones. When he concluded the call, he appeared older somehow. He informed me these types of policies were not uncommon, but the timing and amounts raised questions, serious questions. We decided not to inform anyone yet, not until we understood more. Father began quietly collecting financial records from his home office. I assisted when I could. We discovered credit card statements indicating mother had been in debt before Lily died, significant debt. After Lily's death, everything was settled. The papers depicted a scenario neither of us wished to acknowledge. I began experiencing nightmares. I would awaken gasping, seeing Lily in the pool, but now mother was also there, standing and observing. Father heard me one night and came to sit on my bed. We did not speak. He simply sat there until I drifted back to sleep. This became our routine for weeks. Emma returned home, and we attempted to act normally. She was speaking more now, calling Father Dada, and me by a shortened version of my name. She was sweet and amusing, and completely unaware of the darkness we had unearthed. We maintained her routine steadily. Parks, playtime, regular meals. Children require stability. We pushed our fears aside during the day, concentrating on her needs. Then, one afternoon, the doorbell rang. I was assisting Emma with a puzzle, one with cartoon animals that she adored. Father answered it. I heard mother's voice, and my blood ran cold. She was back. She stood in the doorway, looking different, thinner. Her hair was shorter and darker. She wore a simple sweater and jeans instead of her usual composed outfits. She stated she had been receiving help and wished to speak. Father hesitated but allowed her entry. I picked up Emma and carried her upstairs, telling her we would play in her room. She did not need to witness this. From the top of the stairs, I could hear them conversing. Mother's voice was calm, measured, nothing like the screaming woman from months ago. She spoke about therapy and medication and better understanding her grief. She said she knew she had been wrong. Father mostly listened. I crept halfway down the stairs to hear more clearly. She wished to see Emma, just a brief visit, she said, supervised, of course. She understood she possessed no rights anymore, but hoped we could arrange something. Father told her he would need to consider it. She accepted that without argument. That should have been my initial warning. Mother never accepted anything without a struggle. After she left, Father and I conversed. He seemed conflicted. Perhaps she truly had received help. Perhaps people could change. I reminded him about the insurance policies. He said we did not know what those definitively meant. We went in circles for hours. Emma played with her blocks nearby, occasionally displaying her creations. Mother started texting Father daily, simple messages at first, inquiring how Emma was doing, sharing what she had learned in therapy, apologizing for specific actions she had taken. The messages appeared genuine. Father showed them to me, asking my opinion. I did not trust it, but could not articulate why, just a feeling in my gut. After 2 weeks of texts, Father agreed to meet her for coffee, just the two of them. He returned looking thoughtful. She had presented him with paperwork from her therapist, proof of regular sessions. She was on medication for depression and anxiety. She seemed to genuinely comprehend how badly she had erred. He was beginning to soften. I remained suspicious. Something felt amiss about the entire situation. The timing was too convenient. We had just discovered those insurance papers, and suddenly she appeared, completely recovered. I began paying closer attention to everything. When she came by to drop off some of Emma's old toys she had kept, I observed from my window. She sat in her car for 10 minutes after leaving, simply staring at our house. Father agreed to a supervised visit. We met at a park, public and safe. Emma did not recall her at first. Mother handled it well, not pressuring, just sitting nearby and speaking softly. She had brought bubbles. Emma adored bubbles. Within an hour, they were playing together. Father watched closely, but I could see him relaxing. I could not shake the feeling that we were being manipulated. The visits became weekly, always supervised, always in public. Mother never requested more. She adhered to every boundary we established. She brought age-appropriate toys and wholesome snacks. She read Emma stories and pushed her on swings. To anyone observing, she appeared to be a caring mother who had made errors and was striving to improve. But I noticed things, minor details. She would ask Emma questions about our routines. What time did she nap? What did she eat for breakfast? Did she sleep through the night? When I mentioned this to father, he said she was merely attempting to be involved, making conversation. But the questions felt too specific, too focused. One day, mother mentioned she had secured employment at a daycare, working with children again. It felt therapeutic, she said. She was residing in a small apartment across town, slowly rebuilding her life. Father seemed impressed by her progress. I felt ill. Why would someone who had lost custody of a child be permitted to work at a daycare? I looked up the daycare online. It existed. The website displayed smiling children and colorful classrooms. But when I called, pretending to be interested in enrollment, they had never heard of my mother. I informed father immediately. He confronted her at the next visit. She laughed it off. She had misremembered the name. It was actually a different daycare. She showed him a pay stub. The unease in my stomach intensified. Mother started suggesting longer visits. Perhaps Emma could come to her apartment for a few hours. Father declined. She accepted it gracefully but raised it again the following week, and the next. Gentle pressure, nothing aggressive, just planting seeds. I watched father begin to consider it. After all, she had been performing so well. I decided to follow her one day. I know that sounds irrational, but I needed to know where she truly resided. I borrowed my friend's bicycle and maintained a considerable distance behind her car. She did not go to the apartment complex she had described. She went to a motel on the outskirts of town, the kind that rented by the week. I took photographs with my phone and showed father that night. He confronted her again. Another facile explanation. She was between apartments. The motel was temporary. She had not wanted to appear unstable, so she had lied about having a genuine place. She wept about being mortified by her situation. Father believed it. I did not. The falsehoods were accumulating, but each one seemed so plausible individually. Emma started experiencing nightmares after the visits. Nothing major, just waking up crying occasionally. Mother suggested it might be because the visits were too brief. Emma was becoming attached, then having to say goodbye. Perhaps longer visits would help. The logic was convoluted, but almost made sense. Father started wavering. I began recording our conversations with mother on my phone, not video, just audio. I kept it in my pocket during visits. Most of it was mundane, normal conversation, but sometimes she would utter things that felt wrong. Comments about how Emma would be happier with more stability, how split custody was so difficult for children, how perhaps we should consider what was truly best for Emma. One recording captured her on the phone when she believed we could not hear. She was discussing timelines and patience, and how everything was proceeding according to plan. When I played it for father, he said she was likely discussing her therapy goals. I wanted to scream. How could he not perceive what was happening? The visits continued. Mother brought up overnight visits again. Just one night, she suggested. Emma could see her apartment, have a sleepover. Father was actually considering it. I implored him not to. We argued about it constantly. He believed I was being paranoid, allowing my anger to cloud my judgment. Perhaps I was, but perhaps I was not. Then mother made a mistake during a visit. Emma fell and scraped her knee. Nothing serious, just a little blood. Mother completely overreacted. She scooped Emma up and started heading for her car, stating she needed to go to the hospital. Father had to physically obstruct her. She snapped at him that he was endangering Emma by not taking it seriously. The facade slipped for just a moment. Father saw it too. After that, he started listening to my concerns more. We reviewed the recordings together. The patterns became clearer. The questions about routines, the gradual push for more access, the minor lies that did not seem connected until viewed collectively. Father's lawyer friend listened to everything and suggested we document it all carefully. Mother noticed the change immediately. She accused father of poisoning me against her, said he was being influenced by a traumatized teenager who could not forgive. She threatened to engage her own lawyer to fight for grandparent rights or something. The calm, therapy-improved version of her began to crack. We maintained the visits, but remained more vigilant. I ensured I never left Emma alone with her, not even for a second. Father did the same. Mother noticed that too. She made comments about how we were treating her like a criminal, how unfair it was, how she had done everything we asked. One day, she appeared at our house unannounced, claiming she was merely dropping off a birthday present for Emma, even though Emma's birthday was months away. Father told her she could not do that. She needed to adhere to the scheduled visits. She wept on our porch about missing her family. Several neighbors observed. I am certain that was intentional. The next visit, she brought my aunt with her. My aunt had taken Emma in previously. Mother had been working on her, telling her how well therapy was progressing. My aunt started advocating for mother, stating everyone deserved a second chance. The family pressure was commencing. Mother was playing a longer game than we had realized. More relatives started reaching out. Mother had been contacting them, sharing her progress, requesting support. Some believed her. They called father, suggesting he was being too harsh, that mother had suffered enough, that Emma needed her mother. The division in the family was deepening. Mother was adept at this. I discovered she had been visiting Lily's grave, leaving flowers and toys, taking pictures. She posted them on social media with captions about healing and forgiveness. People who were unaware of the full story commented with hearts and support. She was constructing a narrative. The grieving mother who had lost her way but found it again. Father started becoming stressed. The pressure from family, the constant vigilance during visits, the fear of making the wrong choice. He was not sleeping well. Neither was I. Emma seemed fine but clingy. She followed us from room to room, not wishing to be alone. Perhaps she sensed the tension. Mother requested a meeting with just Father, no Emma, solely to discuss co-parenting. Father agreed, but met her in a public restaurant. I sat in the car in the parking lot, prepared to call emergency services if needed. Paranoid, perhaps, but I could not shake the fear that she was plotting something. They conversed for 2 hours. Father emerged looking shaken. Mother had been reasonable, he said, discussing Emma's future, college funds, shared responsibilities. But she had also mentioned the life insurance policies, stating she had forgotten about them, that they were from before Lily, when she was concerned about providing for the children if something happened to her. The explanation was plausible, too plausible. That night, we discussed contacting the authorities. But what would we say? That Mother took out life insurance and our sister died in an accident? That she was being overly kind now? We had suspicions, but no proof. The recordings demonstrated manipulation, but nothing illegal. We were trapped. Mother continued to push boundaries in minor ways, appearing 5 minutes early for visits, staying 5 minutes late, purchasing Emma clothes that looked precisely like ones Lily had worn, calling Emma by pet names that had been Lily's. Each thing was small enough to seem coincidental, but together they felt deliberate. I started researching independently, looking up similar cases, attempting to comprehend what we were dealing with. I found stories about individuals who had lost custody fighting to regain their children. The tactics were familiar, building support networks, documenting improvement, gradually increasing contact. Some succeeded. That terrified me. Emma had been making friends at a local playgroup. One day, Mother appeared there, stating she had heard about it and wished to see Emma playing with other children. The playgroup leader was unaware of our situation and allowed her to stay. When we discovered this, we had to explain everything. It was humiliating and exhausting. Mother apologized, stating she simply wanted to see Emma happy. Father hired a private investigator. I had not even known that was a real profession outside of films. The man was nothing like television depictions, just a normal-looking individual with an unremarkable car. He began following Mother, checking her background, verifying her assertions. It cost money we did not truly possess, but Father said it was necessary. The investigator uncovered intriguing details. Mother's therapist was genuine, but she had only been attending for 6 weeks, not the months she had claimed. The daycare job was real, but she had been dismissed after 3 weeks for being overly intense with the children. The apartment she had finally shown us, she was behind on rent. The narrative she had constructed was riddled with inconsistencies. We documented everything the investigator found. Father's lawyer friend said it was good, but might not suffice. Family court was intricate. Mother had not done anything overtly dangerous. Being an imperfect person was not illegal. We required more if we wished to permanently protect Emma. Then Mother escalated. She filed papers with the court requesting formal visitation rights, stating we were being unreasonable and denying Emma a relationship with her mother. The papers made us appear to be the antagonists. Father scrambled to find a genuine family lawyer. The retainer alone amounted to thousands of dollars we did not possess. The lawyer reviewed everything. The insurance policies were concerning, but not conclusive proof of anything. The lies were troubling, but not necessarily disqualifying. The manipulation was clear to us, but might not be to a judge. We were instructed to continue documenting everything and hope Mother made a greater error. Family members started taking sides. Some supported us, having witnessed Mother's behavior firsthand. Others believed we were being cruel, keeping a mother from her child. Family dinners became battlegrounds. Emma sensed the tension, becoming fussier and more anxious. We attempted to shield her, but children perceive everything. Mother's visits became performances. She was the perfect mother for those 2 hours every week, engaged, patient, loving. Anyone observing would think we were monsters for limiting her access. She probably knew we were recording now and was cautious with her words. But sometimes I would catch her looking at Emma with an expression I could not decipher. One visit, she brought up Lily again, telling Emma she had a sister in heaven who loved her very much. Father immediately shut it down, but the damage was done. Emma started inquiring about her heaven sister. We had planned to tell her about Lily when she was older, in an age-appropriate manner. Mother had forced our hand. The court date approached. Our lawyer prepared us for various outcomes. Best case, the judge would see through Mother and deny her request. Worst case, she would gain unsupervised visitation or even partial custody. The middle ground was continuing supervised visits indefinitely. None of the options felt secure enough. Mother's lawyer portrayed her as a reformed woman who had addressed her mental health and simply wished to be part of her daughter's life. Our lawyer presented the pattern of lies and manipulation. The judge seemed skeptical of both sides, stating the child's best interests were all that mattered, and scheduled another hearing for 2 months later. Those 2 months were tense. Mother's behavior during visits was perfect, too perfect. She never complained, never pushed boundaries, never did anything we could document as concerning. It felt like the calm before a storm. Father and I took turns staying awake at night, irrationally afraid she would attempt something. The investigator continued digging. He discovered Mother had been in contact with another family who had lost custody of their child, possibly exchanging strategies. We could not prove it. He found out she had been researching Emma's daycare schedule, stating it was merely interest in her daughter's life. Everything had an innocent explanation. Then we got fortunate or unfortunate, depending on your perspective. Mother slipped during a recorded visit, started discussing how much better Emma's life would be with her, how she had plans for Emma's future, how she had already looked at private schools near her apartment. When Father reminded her she did not have custody, she snapped, just for a second, saying we would soon see who Emma belonged with. It was not much, but it was something. Our lawyer added it to the file. The second hearing approached. Mother redoubled her efforts to be perfect, bringing character references from her therapist, her landlord, even the daycare that had dismissed her. They all spoke favorably. We wondered what she had threatened or promised them. The night before the hearing, I could not sleep. I kept checking on Emma, ensuring her window was locked, her nightlight on. Father was doing the same. We met in the hallway at 3 a.m. and simply stood there, both harboring the same fears, both hoping we were mistaken about everything. The hearing was in a small room that smelled of stale coffee. The judge reviewed all the evidence, asked questions about Emma's well-being, watched a video of one of the visits where Mother appeared engaged and appropriate. Our lawyer presented the pattern of deception. Mother's lawyer called it paranoid speculation. I was permitted to speak. I informed the judge about the insurance policies, about Mother calling Lily broken, about how she had erased my sister and attempted to replace her. Mother's lawyer objected repeatedly, stating I was a traumatized child lashing out. The judge allowed me to continue, but I could perceive the skepticism. Mother spoke too, weeping about her mistakes, claiming grief had shattered her, but she had reassembled herself. She spoke about how much she loved Emma and simply wished to be part of her life. She was convincing. Even I almost believed her. The judge absorbed it all, stating she would review everything and render a decision within a week. That week was agony. We went through the motions of normal life. Emma went to playgroup. I attended school. Father went to work. But we were all waiting, jumping every time the phone rang, checking the mail obsessively. The tension was suffocating. The decision arrived on a Thursday. The judge granted Mother expanded supervised visitation for hours every Saturday instead of 2. The supervision could be reevaluated in 6 months. It was not the worst outcome, but it was not good either. More time meant more opportunities for Mother to manipulate Emma or plan something worse. We commenced the new schedule that weekend. For hours felt interminable. Mother took full advantage, planning elaborate activities. The zoo one week, a pottery class the next. Emma loved it, started asking about Mother during the week, wanting to call her. The attachment Mother desired was forming. I continued recording everything. Hours of mundane conversation punctuated by moments that made my skin crawl. Mother teaching Emma to keep secrets from us, minor ones at first, an extra cookie, a toy she was not supposed to have, building to larger things. I played the recordings for Father. He heard it too. But what could we do? Mother started giving Emma gifts to bring home. Stuffed animals, books, clothes. Each one carefully chosen. The clothes were always slightly too similar to things Lily had worn. The books were ones Lily had loved. The stuffed animals were types Lily had collected. Emma did not know. She simply adored the presents. One Saturday, Mother was late returning Emma, only by 15 minutes, but it sent us into a panic. She apologized, stating traffic was bad, but Emma let slip they had been to Mother's apartment, the one place she was not supposed to take her. When confronted, Mother claimed Emma was confused. They had driven past it, but had not entered. Emma was too young to be a reliable witness. The investigator had been observing that day, confirmed they had gone inside for 20 minutes. We reported it to our lawyer. Mother received a warning from the court, but nothing more. She wept to the supervisor about misunderstanding the rules, promised it would not happen again. The supervisor believed her. I started noticing Emma behaving differently after visits, quieter, more withdrawn. She had always been a cheerful child, but now she seemed worried, started asking if she was being good enough, if we still wanted her. Mother was implanting something in her head during those visits, something we could not quite discern on the recordings. Father attempted to converse with Emma about the visits, asked if Mother said anything that upset her. Emma would not answer, just shook her head and changed the subject. Children that young lack the vocabulary for manipulation. They simply experienced the confusion and pressure. We were losing her bit by bit and could not prevent it. Mother requested holiday visitation, wanting Emma for part of Christmas. The audacity infuriated me. This would be our first true Christmas as a family since everything transpired. But her lawyer argued she possessed rights too. The court agreed to 2 hours on Christmas Eve, another triumph for Mother. The 6-month review approached. Mother had been adhering to the rules, mostly. The apartment incident was deemed minor. Her lawyer pushed for unsupervised visitation, overnight visits, perhaps even shared custody eventually. Our lawyer fought back, but I could see the judge considering it. Mother's performance had been nearly flawless. Then everything changed. Mother made a significant error during a visit. She took Emma to get her ears pierced, returning with Emma crying, ears red and swollen. She claimed Emma had begged for it. The supervisor had been in the restroom when it happened. Father was furious. You require parental consent for piercings. Mother did not possess that right. We rushed Emma to the doctor. The piercings were poorly done, already infected. They had to be removed. Emma screamed through the entire process. Mother attempted to apologize, stating she merely wanted to do something special for Emma, but the harm was done. The judge finally perceived what we had been attempting to demonstrate all along. The review hearing was different this time. The judge was incensed about the piercing incident, calling it a serious breach of trust and boundaries. Mother attempted to explain but exacerbated the situation, stating she felt like Emma's real mother and had acted on instinct. The judge reminded her she had forfeited that right when she abandoned Emma. Visits were reduced back to 2 hours and relocated to a supervised facility. No more enjoyable outings, just a sterile room with toys and a social worker observing. Mother was furious but attempted to conceal it. Her facade was cracking more frequently now. The perfect mother act was harder to maintain under stricter supervision. Emma was confused by the changes, asking why she could no longer go to the zoo with Mother. We explained as simply as we could that Mother needed to follow rules to keep everyone safe. She did not truly comprehend, but accepted it. Children are adaptable. She started relaxing again, the anxiety fading. Mother's family pressure campaign intensified. Now we were the villains who had deprived her of her privileges over a simple mistake. The calls and messages increased. Some relatives threatened to sever ties with us entirely. Others said we were harming Emma by limiting her relationship with her mother. The family split deepened, but something positive emerged from it. My aunt, who had originally taken Emma in, came to visit. She had been observing everything unfold and had concerns. She informed us Mother had been texting her constantly, attempting to obtain information about our routines, asking if she would testify that we were unfit parents. My aunt had refused, and Mother had turned nasty. We added my aunt's testimony to our file, more evidence of Mother's manipulation. Her network of support was starting to see through her act. One by one, family members who had supported her began reaching out with their own accounts of her lies and pressure tactics. The truth was finally surfacing. Mother sensed she was losing ground. The visits became tense. She would make passive-aggressive comments, just quiet enough that the supervisor could not hear clearly, telling Emma that some people did not want them to be together, that Emma should remember who truly loved her. The manipulation was more desperate now, less subtle. I turned 18 during all this, legally an adult, though I did not feel like one. But it meant I could petition for guardianship of Emma if something happened to Father. We filed the paperwork, just in case. Mother found out and accused us of planning to cut her out entirely. She was not wrong, but we could not admit that. The investigator uncovered something new. Mother had been in contact with a lawyer known for aggressive custody battles, the kind who employ underhanded tactics, private investigators of their own, digging up dirt on opposing parents. We worried about what they might find or fabricate. Father had a couple of speeding tickets. I had received detention once in middle school. Would they attempt to use that? We decided to be proactive, met with our lawyer to discuss any potential vulnerabilities, prepared explanations for anything Mother's team might distort. It felt paranoid, but necessary. The stakes were too high to be caught off guard. Emma's safety depended on us being ready for anything. Mother's behavior in the supervised visits deteriorated. She would weep through entire visits, telling Emma how much she missed her. The supervisor warned her about emotional manipulation, but she would compose herself just enough to avoid losing visits entirely. Emma started dreading Saturdays, clinging to us when it was time to leave. Then we found out Mother had been telling people Father was abusive, nothing specific enough to report to authorities, but enough to plant seeds of doubt. She claimed that was why she had been forced to leave, to protect herself. Some people believed her. We started receiving suspicious glances at school events, whispers at the grocery store. Father was devastated. He had never raised a hand to anyone in his life. The accusation tormented him. He started second-guessing every interaction with Emma, afraid someone would misinterpret normal parenting as something sinister. I watched him withdraw from hugging her in public, terrified of perception. Our lawyer said this was a common tactic in ugly custody battles. Throw enough mud, and some will stick. We documented everything, prepared character witnesses, but the damage to Father's reputation was real. Some people would always wonder if there was truth to Mother's claims. It made me despise her even more. The stress was affecting all of us. Emma had started wetting the bed again. Father was losing weight, barely eating. I was failing a class for the first time in my life, unable to concentrate on anything but protecting our family. We were surviving, but at a cost. Mother was winning, even while losing. Then came the night that altered everything. It was a Tuesday, around midnight. I awoke to a sound downstairs, thought perhaps Father was getting water, but something felt wrong. I crept to the top of the stairs and listened. Someone was attempting to open the back door, the one with the broken lock we had been meaning to repair. I ran to Father's room, shook him awake. We both heard it then. The door opening, footsteps in the kitchen. Father grabbed the baseball bat he kept by his bed, told me to get Emma and lock ourselves in the bathroom, Call emergency services. But I could not move, frozen by fear and the need to know who was in our house. Father crept downstairs while I stood guard by Emma's door. I heard him shout, then a crash. Mother's voice, high and frantic, saying she simply wanted to see Emma, that we had kept her baby from her, that she had every right to be there. Father telling her to leave, that he had called the police. More crashing. I finally moved, running to Emma's room. She was sitting up in bed, eyes wide with fear. What is happening? She whispered. I scooped her up, feeling her small body trembling against mine, carried her to the bathroom, and locked the door. I called emergency services with shaking hands, telling them someone had broken in, that my father was in danger. They said units were en route. Stay on the line. I could hear the struggle downstairs. The police arrived within minutes, though it felt like hours. I heard them enter, shout commands. Mother screaming that this was her house, her family, that we had stolen everything from her. The sound of handcuffs clicking. Father's voice, steady but shaken, explaining what happened. I remained in the bathroom until an officer knocked, stating it was safe. Mother was in the back of a police car when we came down. Emma clung to me, burying her face in my shoulder. The kitchen was a mess, broken dishes, a chair overturned. Father had a cut on his forehead where Mother had thrown something. The officers took statements, photographs, evidence. She had entered through the back door with a key she had kept, planned to take Emma and disappear. She had a bag packed in her car with Emma's clothes, toys, and cash. The officers found paperwork for a rental car and a motel reservation 3 states away. She had been planning this for weeks while playing the perfect mother at supervised visits. Father and I sat in the living room until dawn, Emma sleeping between us. We did not converse much, just held each other and attempted to process what had transpired. The house felt violated. Every shadow could be her returning. We had known she was dangerous, but this was beyond what we had imagined. Mother was charged with breaking and entering, attempted kidnapping, and assault. Her lawyer attempted to portray it as a mental health crisis brought on by being kept from her child, but the planning demonstrated clear intent. The judge, who had been sympathetic before, now perceived what we had been attempting to convey to everyone. Mother was dangerous. An emergency hearing stripped all her visitation rights. A restraining order was issued. She could not come within 500 feet of any of us. It should have felt like victory, but it just felt hollow. Emma woke up asking for breakfast, as if nothing had happened. We attempted to maintain normalcy for her, but how do you explain that Grandma tried to abduct her? The family fallout was swift. Those who had supported Mother were horrified. Apologies poured in from relatives who had doubted us, but some still offered excuses, claiming we had driven her to it by being too restrictive, that grief and desperation made people commit terrible acts, as if that justified traumatizing a child. We installed new locks, an alarm system, cameras. The expense was crushing but necessary. Father slept on the couch for weeks, needing to see the doors. I kept Emma's baby monitor in my room, waking at every sound. The house that had been healing became a fortress. Mother had taken that from us too. The criminal case progressed slowly. Mother was out on bail, supposedly staying with a friend. The conditions were strict. No contact, ankle monitor, curfew. But we all knew how little that meant to someone desperate. We saw her sometimes, sitting in her car just outside the restraining order distance, watching. The police stated they could do nothing if she did not come closer. Emma noticed the changes, asked why we had new locks, why the alarm beeped when doors opened. We told her it was to keep everyone safe, like wearing seat belts in the car. She accepted it with the trust children possess, but she had lost some innocence, started checking that doors were locked, asking if bad people could enter. Mother's trial date was set for 6 months out. Her lawyer continued filing motions for delays, mental health evaluations, competency hearings, whatever they could conceive. Each delay meant more months of looking over our shoulders. Emma started kindergarten with a safety plan in place. The school had Mother's photo and strict pickup rules. Then one morning, Father received a call from the prosecutor. Mother had made bail somehow. Some distant relative we had never heard of put up their house as collateral. She was out, with an ankle monitor and strict conditions, but she was out. We immediately filed for an emergency restraining order extension. The judge granted it, but we all knew how useless paper was against someone determined. We did not see her at first. The ankle monitor reports showed her staying at her bail sponsor's house across town, following curfew, checking in as required. Perhaps prison had straightened her out. Father and I wished to believe it, but we maintained our vigilance. We varied our routines more, installed extra cameras, remained alert. Emma's school had a Halloween parade. Parents could come watch the children march around in costumes. Emma was going as a butterfly, wings she had helped construct herself. I took the morning off from college to attend with Father. We stood with the other parents, taking pictures, attempting to feel normal. Then I saw her. Mother was across the street, just outside school property, wearing sunglasses and a hat, but definitely her. She was taking pictures with a long lens camera. I grabbed Father's arm, pointed her out. He immediately moved toward her while I called emergency services. But she saw us notice her and walked quickly away. By the time police arrived, she was gone. The ankle monitor showed she had never left her approved address. The prosecutor said she must have severed it, and someone else was wearing it. They arrested her bail sponsor for aiding a fugitive, issued a warrant for mother. But she had planned this carefully, had money hidden somewhere, probably a car we did not know about. She was at large again. We immediately withdrew Emma from school. We could not risk her being exposed like that. I moved back home from college to assist with homeschooling. Father worked from home when possible. We basically entered lockdown. Emma did not comprehend why she could not see her friends, started having tantrums, acting out. The isolation was harming her, but what choice did we have? 2 weeks later, the police received a tip. Someone matching mother's description had been seen at a motel one town over. They surrounded the room, entered carefully, found evidence she had been there, but she was already gone. She had been using stolen credit cards, fake IDs. The police said she was becoming desperate, making mistakes. They would apprehend her soon. I started sleeping in Emma's room, placed a lock on the inside of her door. Father slept downstairs on the couch most nights. We were exhausted, running on adrenaline and fear. Emma wet the bed almost nightly, started sucking her thumb again, a habit she had outgrown years ago. We were all regressing under the stress. Then mother made contact, not directly, but through Emma's old daycare. She called, pretending to be from the school district, inquiring about Emma's records. The daycare director recognized her voice, called us immediately. Mother had been fishing for information about Emma's current whereabouts. The daycare had not provided her with anything, but it showed she was still pursuing us. We hired private security. We could not afford it, but we could not afford not to. A retired police officer who sat outside our house in shifts made us feel slightly safer, but also like prisoners. Emma asked why the man was always in the car outside. We told her he was a friend, ensuring we were okay. She was too young to comprehend the true danger. One night, the security guard called Father's cell. Someone was creeping around the backyard. Father called emergency services while I got Emma and locked us in the bathroom again, becoming a dreadful routine. The guard confronted the person, who fled. Police found footprints, a crowbar dropped by the fence. They could not prove it was mother, but who else would it be? The prosecutor was furious about the bail situation, pushed hard for faster trial dates, better resources to locate mother. But the system moved slowly. We were just one case among hundreds, a family court dispute gone awry, not a priority like homicide or terrorism. We felt abandoned by the very system intended to protect us. Father's health started deteriorating. Chest pains that sent us to the emergency room twice. Stress, the doctor said. He was prescribed anxiety medication, told to try to relax. How could he relax when his ex-wife was stalking his family, when his daughter could not have a normal childhood, when every noise might be her attempting to break in? I found myself checking Emma constantly, ensuring she was breathing while she slept, checking her backpack for tracking devices, examining every toy for hidden cameras, paranoid behaviors that I knew were irrational but could not cease. Mother had transformed us into nervous wrecks without even being present. The psychological warfare was effective. Then we got lucky. Mother attempted to access her old bank account from a library computer. The bank flagged it, called the police. By the time they arrived, she was gone, but they had security footage. She looked terrible, thin, hair matted, clothes dirty. Living on the run was taking its toll. Good, I thought, let her suffer. The footage provided police with a direction to search. They found her car abandoned in a parking garage. Inside were maps with our house circled, Emma's school schedule from before we withdrew her, photographs of all of us taken from a distance, detailed notes about our routines. She had been observing us for weeks before we had noticed. The violation made me physically ill. We relocated to a hotel for a few days while police processed our house as a crime scene, searching for any indication she had been inside without our knowledge. They found nothing, but the uncertainty was worse. Emma initially thought it was an adventure, hotel pool, room service, but she quickly missed her toys, her room, her normal life. The police established surveillance at places they thought mother might go, her mother's grave, Lily's grave, the house where she grew up. Nothing for days. Then a groundskeeper at the cemetery reported someone sleeping in a maintenance shed. Police surrounded it at dawn, found mother inside, delirious from hunger and exhaustion. She fought them, screaming about her babies, how we had stolen them. It took 3 officers to restrain her. They brought her to the hospital first. Dehydration, malnutrition, infected cuts on her feet from walking. She looked nothing like the composed woman who had first returned, requesting visits. The monster was finally manifesting on the outside. This time, they placed her in maximum security. No bail, no phone privileges, no visitors except her lawyer. We could finally breathe a little. Emma returned to school with a modified schedule. We maintained the security for a while longer, just in case. Slowly, we attempted to return to something resembling normal life, whatever that meant anymore. The trial was expedited, given her flight risk. We had to testify again. Emma was interviewed by child psychologists in a special room. They asked her about mother in gentle ways. She did not recall much. Thankfully, just stated mother made her feel scared sometimes, that she liked living with daddy and me, that she missed her friends when she could not attend school. Mother's lawyer attempted to argue she had been driven insane by grief and our cruelty, that keeping her from Emma had shattered her mind. The prosecutor countered with the insurance policies, the planning, the stalking. He showed the jury the photographs from her car, the notes about our schedules, making it clear this was not grief, but calculated predation. Mother testified on her own behalf, against her lawyer's advice. She rambled about conspiracies, claimed we had caused Lily's death and framed her, said Emma was being abused, and she was attempting to rescue her. Even her own lawyer appeared uncomfortable. The jury saw a dangerous, delusional woman who would never cease pursuing Emma, precisely what she was. The verdict took less than a day, guilty on all counts. The judge imposed the maximum sentence. Life without parole for Lily's death, consecutive sentences for everything else. Mother laughed when they read it, stating we would regret it, that she would escape somehow and reclaim what was hers. They dragged her away, still uttering threats. We sat in the courthouse parking lot afterward. Father turned off his phone. I turned off mine. We simply sat in silence for a while. It was over, truly, definitively over this time. No appeals would overturn that sentence. No relative would bail her out. She would die in prison. Emma was finally safe. We were all finally safe. The next few months were dedicated to rebuilding. Therapy for all of us. Emma had play therapy to process the trauma in child-appropriate ways. Father and I had individual and family sessions, learning not to startle at shadows, to trust that doors would remain locked, that strangers were usually just strangers. It was more challenging than it sounds. Emma rebounded fastest. Children are resilient when they feel secure. She made friends at school, joined a soccer team, had sleepovers, normal childhood activities we had thought she might never experience. She still had nightmares sometimes, but less and less, started discussing her future instead of being afraid of tomorrow. Father met someone at a grief support group, a widow with children of her own. They proceeded slowly, both carrying burdens, but it was pleasant seeing him smile again, have someone to converse with who understood loss and single parenting. Emma liked her children, started feeling like perhaps we could be a larger family someday. I returned to college, remained close to home, came back most weekends, but I needed to construct my own life too. I changed my major to social work, wishing to assist children like Emma, families like ours. My professor said trauma could make you bitter or better. I was striving for better. We eventually sold the house. Too many painful memories, despite the positive ones we had attempted to create. We found a place closer to Father's girlfriend, a two-story colonial with a spacious yard, no pool. Emma selected a purple room. We painted it together, made it precisely how she desired. Her safe space that no one could take away. The anniversary of Lily's death arrived again. This time, we went to her grave together. No drama, no fear, just a family remembering someone they loved. Emma left a picture she had drawn of butterflies, stating Lily probably liked butterflies in heaven. We affirmed she probably did, letting her retain that innocent belief. We imparted more truth to Emma as she grew older, age-appropriate details about her birth mother who could not care for her, about Lily who died in an accident, about mother who became mentally unwell and had to leave. Simple explanations that answered her questions without traumatizing her. She learned the full truth when she was ready. Years passed. Emma matured into a confident, happy child. She played soccer as I had, won science fairs as I had, but also became her own unique person, artistic in ways neither father nor I were, brave in ways we had been compelled to learn. She knew she was adopted but also knew she was chosen, wanted, protected, loved beyond measure. Father married his girlfriend when Emma was 10. A small wedding, just family and close friends. Emma was the flower girl, took her role very seriously. I delivered a speech about second chances and finding happiness after darkness, weeping through half of it. Everyone cried, but joyful tears this time, healing tears. We received a letter from the prison when Emma was 12. Mother had died, a heart attack in her cell, natural causes. They needed to know what to do with her remains. Father handled it quietly, had her cremated, scattered somewhere we would never know. No grave for Emma to feel obligated to visit, no marker for our past pain, just ashes and an ending. We informed Emma that night. She accepted it quietly, asked a few questions, wanted to know if Mother had been alone. We said yes. She said that was sad. We agreed. Even monsters deserve some compassion in death. But then she inquired about her dessert, and the moment passed. She had never truly known Mother. The news meant little to her life. I completed my social work degree, started working with children in the system. Some had stories worse than Emma's. Some had no one fighting for them as we had fought for her. I did my best to be their advocate, to identify the warning signs others might miss, to believe children when they said something felt wrong. Lily and Emma made me better at it. Father retired early. The stress had aged him, but he was content now. He spent time woodworking, teaching Emma to construct things. They made a dollhouse together, every detail perfect. She still possesses it, even as a teenager, says she will give it to her children someday. The continuity of that makes me smile. Normal family planning what we had fought so hard to achieve. Emma knows the complete truth now, read the court documents when she turned 16, had questions we answered honestly. She was angry we had withheld some details, but understood we had been protecting her. She is in therapy, working through it, says she wishes to become a lawyer, help children like her younger self. The cycle of assistance continues. We still visit Lily's grave, all of us now. Father's wife and her children too. A blended family remembering someone they never met, but who shaped their lives. Emma tells Lily about high school boys she likes, dreams for college, normal teenage topics, the conversations Lily never got to have. It is sad but also healing, preserving her memory the right way. Sometimes I envision different endings, where Mother received help before it was too late, where Lily lived, where Emma did not require protection. But you cannot alter the past. You can only build from where you are. We constructed something good from tragedy, a family forged in fire but strengthened by love. That is our victory. Emma graduates next year, wishes to study pre-law at State University, close enough to come home, but far enough to be independent. We are proud and terrified in equal measure, but that is normal parenting, being scared and allowing them to soar anyway. She is strong enough. We ensured that. Lily would be proud too. The house is quieter now, with Emma mostly grown. Father and his wife travel some. I have my own apartment, my own life. But we gather every Sunday for dinner, recount stories, share news, simply be together. Normal family activities that once seemed impossible. We navigated the darkness, found light on the other side. That is enough. That is everything.